Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadReader.com. It is Friday. I have posted the Jenny Moonstone discussion for private road members. Cool stuff about what's going on at the Silver Institute, what's going on at Metals Focus, whether or not we are going to be jumping up and down pissed off, or we're going to say, oh my God, they've turned a corner. I'll give you a hint. I'm leaving this chart up, clearly showing, at least graphically, that we're 350 million ounces for 2023 at a minimum. At a minimum. The question is, what will they come up with? They have hinted at 180, which is half of what it really is. And they're going to bring out Jeffrey Christian and all the bullshit. Jenny goes into that. We also talk about crypto revelations coming this summer, big ones, and Theta, what's going on with Theta and where Theta will be going. But the biggest thing we talked about, and we used to talk about Reggie Middleton and Veritasium all the time, and he was literally shackled up and being held down. That is ending. Reggie is rising from the ashes. Veritasium, you're going to have to, if you own cryptos, you're going to have to own some Veritasium as insurance on those cryptos. So that's where we are. Go check it out. It's a great discussion. Also, we are giving away one Veritasium token with every 1 year subscription. It's loaded on paper wallet. You don't even have to know anything about cryptos. You stick it in your safe with your silver, and then you wait. Speaking of silver, speaking of waiting, really interesting time right now in, obviously the industrial side is going crazy. They don't like to buy when the prices are this high. They like to buy on the slams, especially in India. And India, I mean, they're just lapping it up, going, oh, give me more silver. Lots going down in India. But interestingly, as we had the little spike up past 25, India basically stopped, at least the exchange. Now, there's other imports, but the exchange has been dead for like 7 days. But when they slam prices down, especially below the moving averages, which the bankers love to do because then they can cover their shorts, because all the tech traders go short at that point, and they're like, oh, thank God. The bankers are gonna cover their shorts again. India's caught on to that, the Indian trader on the IIBX. So anytime it goes even close to that, they are loading up. And this is real physical silver being taken out of the UAE, imported into India, and then brought into their burgeoning solar industry. Every country around the world is blowing up their solar. We're gonna do double again this year, which is shocking because we don't have the silver for it. Imagine 700 million ounces of silver just going into solar this year. That's a stretch, but last year was a stretch too, and they doubled. The year before was a stretch too, and they almost doubled. So yeah, unless the price changes, see, that's the key. We are going to solar panel the entire planet unless the price is allowed to react to market forces, the price of silver. And it's not, so they're going to just keep making it. And no, they are not thrifting. I have seen name me a solar panel that has thrifted all its silver out, or even a majority, or any of it. And they're just not coming. The patents are all about, you can make solar panels without silver, but nobody is yet. You don't need to. You have cheap silver. You see what's going on? So the Silver Institute and people within the solar market who know what's going on say, no, silver's being thrifted out. Don't you worry. It's all being used in littler and littler. We're getting the same efficiencies. Show me one. Show me what popular solar panel has thrifted silver out of its, or even close to out of its, the way it's manufactured. It's all a lie. The whole thing's a lie. They are soaking up millions and millions and millions and probably ultimately billions and billions and billions of ounces. And there's just, at some point, there's just not going to be any. And where are they getting it now? They're getting it from everywhere they can. The COMEX a little bit. The big one lately is this is the inventories for SLV. If you have a share of SLV, you are sitting on a rehypothecated derivative. A rehypothecated derivative. What happened was, and here's what I believe would happen, and you can even find it in the data. Back during the JP Morgan gets busted by the DOJ, they're required to divest their winnings. How are they going to get rid of their silver? They're not going to get rid of it. They're going to lease it out over a 3-year term, so it looks like they're getting rid of it, but they're not. That's exactly what they did with Bank of America. The numbers are exact, and I'll show you where they are. Here it is. This is right before they start to hide the numbers. So this is the OCC data, Bank of America. This is precious metals. In December, in the fourth quarter of 2021, they were still removing silver from gold. Once they put gold in, and they did it the next quarter, and I'll show you why. Once they did that, you couldn't distinguish what was gold and what was silver because the gold derivatives are so much higher. But Bank of America didn't really have any gold derivatives. They didn't have any silver derivatives going back 4 or 5 years. But then they started to just built this gigantic position in silver derivatives, and everybody was shaking their head. And it was obvious. By the time they stopped, at least they started changing the data, JP Morgan's silver derivatives were equal to Bank of America's silver derivatives. It should be obvious. Bank of America was at 0 a few years back. 0 silver. And all of a sudden, they're at 1.2 billion ounces of silver derivatives. A shocking number. And that's the JP Morgan lease to Bank of America. There's other banks involved at the back end, but that's what was going on. And then everybody started to see it. So JP Morgan went to their guy who works within the government at the Office of Comptroller of Currencies. This is the number 2 guy. His name is Greg Coleman, and he is the Senior Deputy Comptroller for Large Bank Supervision. It even says it right here. Mr. Coleman has served at a variety of bank supervision roles as an examiner, a policy expert, a manager at the OCC, including serving as examiner in charge at Capital One and E-Trade. He previously served as director within Credit and Market Risk Division of the Office of Chief National Bank Examiner and as the lead for capital markets team at JP Morgan Chase. This is what these criminals do all the time. They embed their people. So Greg Coleman, the number 2 guy at the OCC, said, oh my God, everybody can see that we've leased out 1.2 billion ounces of silver. Remember, the Hunt brothers only had like 100 million ounces that they were messing with. This is 1.2 billion. And it's all right here in the data. So everybody could see it. And so they go, oh my God, what are we going to do? That's when they changed the data. That's when they lumped in gold with the silver, and these numbers were indistinguishable. As a matter of fact, I have it right here. The next quarter, it would be the first quarter of 2022. This number right here, the 28 million from JP Morgan jumped to 28 billion. That's a B. Jumped to 330 billion because they added gold back in. And then Goldman Sachs didn't jump much at all. It went from 4.8 billion to 5.9 billion. So Goldman's out pretty much of any gold and silver derivatives now. So they're not playing in that game unless they're doing it, somewhere where they don't have to report it, which, who knows with them. Citibank had a decent. Citibank very rarely takes delivery on the COMEX, so I don't think they're a big player, but they're always there. A 6.9 billion, which jumped to 114 billion. So Citibank is massive in gold derivatives, but not necessarily silver. And then interestingly, Bank of America, when they added in their gold derivatives for the next quarter, it jumped from 27 billion just to 29 billion. I think that's still silver, all silver anyway. So they did more in the silver world. But clearly, this guy, Greg Coleman, was the one who said we have to switch. We have to hide JP Morgan's numbers. And that's what they did. So here we are. Here we sit, a few years later, and let's take a look at SLV's inventory. This is the inventory list of SLV. It is going down massively. Since the silver squeeze, where it peaked at 729 million ounces in SLV, 729 million, that's a lot of silver. it has gone down to 600 or 464. So that is a differential of 264 million ounces have been drawn out of SLV. And you'd think, wait a minute, I thought, who's really in charge of SLV? Is it the shareholders, or is it the authorized participants and the people holding the inventory, which is JP Morgan? Now, Ted Butler has proven that JP Morgan has been double counting inventory for both SLV in their own warehouse, SLV and COMEX. I'm going to add a third thing to that. That SLV COMEX inventory and the SLV inventory was also used in a derivative to lease to Bank of America. That physical silver now has 3 claims on it. It's the same silver. 3 claims. And as you can see, this is what happened. Bank of America's silver derivative position skyrockets to 1.2 billion ounces to match JP Morgan's in fourth quarter 2021. Then what happens is in the first quarter, so the next quarter that's reporting for derivatives, Q1 of 2022, the OCC changes reporting and lumps silver with gold to disguise the silver derivative market. Absolutely. We've talked about that a lot. And the guy who is doing it is a head of large bank supervision. This guy, Greg Coleman, is the guy that did it. Now, why is this all important now? Because we see the silver being drained out of the SLV. And interesting, they've drained out 260 million ounces of silver, and yet the price has only gone down $2.12 since the peak of the inventories until today. So dumping 260 million ounces in the last few years didn't do much at all to the price. That's how big the demand is for silver. And this is physical silver leaving the COMEX, leaving the SLV, all going to China and India and anybody with half a brain on the manufacturing side. I don't know how much Elon Musk has done, but I know he has done, if he's smart, which is probably is, he does it. He's probably one of JP Morgan's customers. JP Morgan's customers are all soaking up all the silver, and a lot of that goes to China and India, but China mainly. The war is on. Russia's probably doing the same thing. It's easy to take down the United States of America. Just buy the last remaining ounces of silver and put JP Morgan and all the criminal bankers in the pokey, shall we say. So yes, if you own any SLV, you are assisting in the market manipulation. If you don't believe me, like Jeff Christian came out the other, when this was all going down, said this is bullshit. It's not happening. No, the silver authorized SLV authorized participants aren't in the derivatives market messing with that. We did have a confession. We had a confession 3 years ago, and here's the confession. This is Jeff Curry, Goldman Sachs' head of gold and silver research, on an interview with CNBC. Listen to what he says. Listen to why he's trying to explain. No, that can't be a short squeeze. This is when the Wall Street Reddit squeeze was trying to go on. Listen to what he says.
Right, but you look at the flows going in and out of these ETFs, they're not that big. But I guess my question is, forget the ETF. In terms of thinking about how you're going to create a squeeze, the shorts are the ETFs. The ETFs buy the physical, they turn around and they sell on the COMEX to be able to hedge that physical position like any other corporate.
There you go. He just said it. He admitted it to the world, and it is true. And that is what JP Morgan was doing on those releases. The reality, there are so many claims on the SLV silver, on the COMEX silver, on any silver sitting in warehouses. If you have your metal held with a bank, that's proven to be a huge mistake. They don't hold that metal. They think, no, we can sell the metal, suppress the price, and then if we have to, if you come calling for your metal, we're gonna give it back. It is such a con. The entire industry is literally, it's the blind leading the blind, and the criminals are leading the whole show. So, place your bets. I did talk to Jenny Moonstone in our discussion about what's going to happen with the JP Morgan DOJ deferred prosecution agreement that has to be decided on Monday. And she came up with an answer I did not expect. So if you're on the private road, go check that out. Holy crap. Very interesting times that we live in. So that's what's going on. So silver price still under management, still under control. Ultimately, at the end of the day, when the banks are taken out, when the last silver is thrown into a solar panel, we're going to be tearing down all those solar panels just to get the silver back out, probably by the end of the year, which is crazy. But that's the way this game is being played. And if we go to $0 silver tomorrow or $1 million an ounce of silver tomorrow on the COMEX, it's a click of a mouse. It's so easy to do. If we shut down the COMEX, if we have a banking issue, FDIC just had the board meeting. They're talking about merging, how we're going to merge all these banks. It was really enlightening. They know it's coming. And I think it'll come far before the election. So definitely buy all your silver, get it in your own possession. If you have any SLV, you will lose it. If you have stocks, bonds, and all that, I think you're crazy. But hey, you're winning, right? Stocks are going crazy. Everybody's making money. And they will continue to do that until it breaks. And after it breaks, that's what we do on the road to Ruta. We're going to have assets in our own possession. We're going to try to help friends and family, even though they've been giving us massive amounts of shit all these years. Silver hasn't gone up. Well, if you bought it when I told you to buy it at $4, it would have gone up. But people don't think about that. They said, "Oh, it went to 50, and now you've lost all this money." Well, it depends when you buy it. It's like cryptos. Oh, you bought at you must have lost your shirt. Crypto's going from $60,000 down to $15,000. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I was buying it $100. Come on now, people. They love to take the top and to the bottom, but they'll never say, "Oh, you bought at the bottom and it went to the top." It's just cryptos are a hodling game. You better hodl the right ones because there's a lot of cryptos that are going to go away in the next shakeup. I don't know when that is. Jenny shed some light on that, so you might want to check that out. That's what I got for you today. This is Bix Weir. Go to roadtoruta.com, join the private road. Lots of videos on everything you need to know about silver, about cryptos, about working towards our freedom, about taking the bad guys out. Good stuff. I'll talk to you guys later.